The bison didn't charge or stomp. It just stood, majestic and unbothered, in the HOA's pristine nature trail, chewing cud like it owned the place. Kids shrieked, fleeing like startled birds. Yoga mats tumbled, and a jogger dropped her kale smoothie, gaping as the beast ambled toward the HOA's cherished pavilion. My bison on my land, by their part perfectly legal. As HOA President Linda wailed into her phone for animal control, her voice piercing with panic, I leaned back in my porch chair, coffee in hand, and muttered, "So, about that fence." To grasp how we got here, rewind 6 months to a fence, a fine, and a woman who grossly underestimated a rancher's resolve. It all kicked off when I finished a new fence along my property's east edge. Not for show-me cattle had taken a liking to the neighbors' tulips, treating them like a buffet. I'd build a sturdy, farm-grade post and wire setup, doubled with mesh to keep my herd in. It wasn't fancy, but it was tough, safe, and legal. Or so I thought. The next morning, a note was taped to my gate, screaming in bold caps on heavy paper, an HOA violation notice. My fence, they claimed, breached rules on height, material, color, and get this, visual serenity. The shiny wire allegedly shattered the neighborhood's rustic charm. Translation, Linda didn't approve. She lived across the greenbelt in a gaudy faux Mediterranean mansion, complete with a tacky gnome army and a daily dose of superiority. She'd made it her mission to control every blade of grass within eyeshot. I tried reasoning. I called the HOA, only to hit Linda's voicemail, dictating her email-only policy and no drop-ins rule. So, I emailed, explaining the fence was on my land, met county codes, and was for livestock safety, permit number included. 3 days later, a one-line reply. Your fence violates community aesthetic standards. Remove by Friday or face penalties. I ignored it. Friday passed. The fence stood. Then came the fine, $12,000. 12 grand for a legal fence, hidden from public view, on my own land. I thought it was a typo, but no, a 70-page PDF listed violations, with skewed photos and rants about elegance and material discord. I stormed to the HOA office, finding only a jittery receptionist and Tim, a junior board member who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. He shrugged, saying Linda pushed the fine, and I should appeal at the next meeting. I did. The room brimmed with nosy retirees and HOA loyalists. Linda presided like a monarch, wielding a gavel she tapped when voices rose. I laid out my case, legal docs, livestock laws, maps proving no encroachment. Linda smirked, saying, "It's not about loss, it's about community vision." The board upheld the fine 4-1. Tim, the lone dissenter, dodged my gaze as I left, fuming. 12 grand for a fence nobody saw unless they snooped. All because Linda loathed rural practicality from her patio. I could have sued, but I had a better plan. That night, sipping whiskey on my porch, staring at my grazing herd under starlight, inspiration struck. If Linda hated the fence, what did she think of what it held? I called my cousin Ray in Wyoming, who runs a bison sanctuary. He roared with laughter, nearly choking, and said, "Want some buffalo? I've got docile ones." I wasn't reckless. I spent weeks researching wildlife permits, upgrading gates with steel, and installing solar alarms. The county AG office confirmed bison were fine with proper fencing and care plans. I kept it secret, wanting the reveal to hit hard. The HOA kept nagging, "Pay the fine, remove the fence, write an apology." I framed one letter, grinning. Then, one crisp dawn, a trailer rolled in. Out stepped 3 bison and 2 calves, hooves thundering, presence regal. My dog bolted for the shed. By noon, they grazed contentedly, with feeders, troughs, and do not approach signs in place. By dusk, Linda arrived, tracksuit on, flanked by 2 bored cronies, staring like she'd seen aliens. "What's this?" she snapped. I leaned on the fence. My new herd. Legal. She threatened animal control. I said they'd been notified. She called anyway. They backed me. She stormed off, ranting about disease and danger. This wasn't petty revenge, it was a stand. If Linda found the fence, she'd face what it contained. The next morning, the mailman's photo of a bison by my fence went viral locally, captioned, "HOA's new neighbor's a beast." Linda retaliated with a letter stapled to my gate, calling my land a wildlife hazard causing resident distress. She demanded the bison's removal or she'd sue. I pinned it to my fridge, amused. That afternoon, she held a Buffalo Crisis meeting at the clubhouse. Neighbors brought snacks, expecting a show. Linda, visor on, waved papers, citing fake bison attack stats and a YouTube clip of one wrecking a tent. But my fence was now wildlife grade, nullifying her fine. Her crusade was crumbling. Board member Sarah visited, clipboard in hand, for a courtesy check. I showed her the reinforced gates, locks, and permits, including a Bison Wrangler's contact. She seemed relieved, hinting not all backed Linda's vendetta. A reporter called, tipped off about the feud. I agreed to an interview to counter Linda's smear campaign, painting me as a reckless cowboy. The story aired, showing bison grazing, my permits, and a calf frolicking, ending with, "Sometimes, you shut down nonsense with grass-fed grit." Linda's next newsletter warned of untamed beasts, suggesting sprinklers to scare bison like squirrels. I choked laughing. Neighbors split, some feared the bison, others loved the drama. A family requested a bison-themed photo shoot. I declined. Linda's petition to ban the bison flopped. Most neighbors, fed up with her tyranny, refused to sign. One said his cat slept through the bison's arrival. A school group's photo, praising local ranchers for eco-preservation, went viral, clashing with Linda's monster narrative. At the board meeting, her hazardous agriculture rule aimed at me tanked when members questioned her obsession over real issues like potholes. That night, I found the trail gate unlatched. Footage showed an HOA landscaper, badge visible, leaving it open after trimming. Had a bison wandered out, it could have been chaos. I saved the clip, ready for Linda's next move. Chaos hit days later. My phone buzzed. "Your buffalo's in the park." 2 bison and a calf had escaped through an open gate, grazing by the HOA fountain. Kids screamed. A jogger clutched her dog. I lured them back with feed, staying calm. A cop arrived, lights flashing, but relaxed when I showed permits, chuckling at the stampede call. Linda, fuming, hissed, "You're done." I said the gate was tampered. She scoffed. I mentioned footage. She froze. The clip showed a hooded figure with an HOA badge snipping the chain at 4 a.m. I sent it to the sheriff and board without accusing anyone. At the next meeting, gasps followed the video. Linda sat mute. The sheriff promised a fingerprint check on the bolt cutters. The board voted 3-2 to suspend her, pending investigation. She stormed out, chair scraping. Anonymous notes hit my mailbox. "We'll remove your pests and unwelcome beasts." I added cameras and sensors, warning the board of legal action if harm came to my herd. Neighbors rallied, quiet ones like Ed, who brought eggs, praising my farm roots. Kids waved, thrilled by the bison. The news covered the sabotage scare, showing my fortified gate. I said, disliking a neighbor's one thing, endangering lives is another. Reddit exploded. HOA frees Buffalo, regrets it. Memes mocked Linda's apocalypse newsletter. My lawyer appealed the $12,000 fine, citing harassment. The county tossed it, finding the HOA acted in bad faith, demanding $50,000 in legal fees and damages. At midnight, my alarm pinged. Footage showed Linda, in black, wielding bolt cutters at the gate, sunglasses glinting. She fumbled, cursing, as the reinforced chains held. Climbing a bench, she froze when a bison, buck, snorted. She fell, shrieking, and fled, limping. I recorded it, called the sheriff. Deputies watched, unimpressed by her safety check excuse. She was cuffed for trespassing, vandalism, and animal endangerment, screaming about saving us. The news dubbed her Buffalo Bandit, her flailing fall a meme. The board banned her permanently. My complaint forced the HOA to pay $50,000 with a public apology at a town hall, clearing my name. Buck became a star. Schools toured. I hired a guide for eco talks. I sold bison jerky from partner farms, building a business. The fence, tagged Prairie Truth, drew selfies. The HOA, under Tim, allowed farm fencing, with me drafting rules. Linda's house listed. She moved to a gated community, chasing a better HOA. I added a night alarm, protected livestock turn back, with Buck snort. Sipping whiskey under stars, watching bison roam, I heard kids laugh across the greenbelt. No sirens, just peace, earned. Buck leaned on the fence, ice calm. I nodded, muttering, she should have left my fence alone.